Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Tutor Impact TV with Toby. Hello, welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about establishing habits. Establishing habits is very important for your time management and self-discipline and enables you to direct your time towards useful things. But at the same time, establishing habits can be very difficult to do. We might have lots of goals and we'll say things like, oh, I need to eat more fruit. I should probably exercise more. I need to turn off my phone an hour before bed. I need to stop leaving my work to the last second. But often this can be really hard to put into practice because we don't know how to actually establish good habits. So the purpose of me making this video today is to remedy that. And hopefully you will know how to establish good habits easily by the end of this video. Now, you've probably tried to establish a habit before and had an experience where it hasn't gone so well. For example, maybe you decided, I'm going to do 20 minutes of exercise a day, every day from now. And you think, oh, 20 minutes, that's not so bad. So on the first day, you manage it and you feel good and you've done your exercise. Let's say day 2 again, yeah, still fine, you've done it. By the third day, you're starting to think, oh, yeah, another 20 minutes, okay, let's do it. And maybe you stop a couple of minutes early. And before you know it, you're only doing 10 minutes every other day. And after a while, you're not really doing it at all. Maybe this is a pattern that you're familiar with. We set ourselves goals for establishing habits, and slowly it just sort of falls away until we're not doing the thing that we set out to do at all. So how can we stop this from happening? Often the road to establishing a habit successfully, or the road to doing anything, can seem quite complicated. So it's important to set ourselves manageable goals. For example, if you look behind me, there's all of this confusing stuff, and we need to find the path that is manageable and simple, something that we can stick to. So let me tell you about a hamster that learned to climb a ladder. So in my time as an undergraduate at the University of Oxford, I once attended an animal behaviour lecture where they talked about an example of a hamster that learned to climb a ladder. And this hamster would scrabble around the bottom of its cage in the litter like hamsters would do. And when the hamster, by chance, would place its paw on the bottom rung of the ladder, the researchers would throw in food to reward the hamster for doing this. And so the hamster would keep touching its paw on the bottom of the ladder every time it wanted food. But after a while, the researchers stopped giving the hamster food for doing this. And so the hamster would start exploring the area around the bottom rung of the ladder in more detail. And by chance, it would at one point put its paw on the second rung of the ladder. And at this point, the researchers would start throwing in food again for the hamster when it did this. And then the researchers moved the goal to the third rung, so the hamster would have to touch the third rung to be rewarded with food. Before you know it, the researchers were getting this hamster to climb a whole ladder. So there was this quite large, complicated task that there's no way you can instruct a hamster to do straight away. But the researchers broke this down into smaller, more achievable steps. And so the hamster climbed the ladder one rung at a time, rather than having to learn to climb the ladder, straight from zero. So how can we learn from observing a hamster climb a ladder and implement the lessons from this into our own lives to help us establish habits? There was a complicated goal, and it was broken down into smaller, more achievable steps. in a similar way, the author Stephen Guise, in his book Mini Habits, encourages us to set ridiculously achievable goals that we could never fail to achieve in a day. For example, he suggests if we're trying to exercise more, we might challenge ourselves to do 1 press up a day. And you think, well, what's the point in doing 1 press up a day? That's just so easy. But the thing is, when you set the goal, as a very low benchmark and it's easy to achieve, that means every day you'll hit the goal and you can feel good for achieving your goal. And before you know it, doing press-ups makes you feel really good. And if you go down and do your 1 press-up, you might just think, well, I'm down on the floor anyway, I'll do a few more. Before you know it, you might be doing 20 press-ups, but not because you need to. You only need to do 1 to hit your goal, so you're doing it because you want to. So in the same way that a hamster learns to climb a ladder 1 rung at a time, you can do 30 press-ups, 1 press-up at a time. Another example of a mini habits approach I came across during a meditation class. And the meditation teacher said to everyone, you wouldn't not brush your teeth every day. It only takes 2 minutes. We always brush our teeth. We don't say, I don't have time to brush my teeth. And so he was saying, take the same approach with meditation. Just do 2 minutes of meditation a day. It's better than nothing. You can't ever use the excuse, oh, I don't have time, because it's only 2 minutes. So again, this is taking the mini habit approach, and rather than setting yourself a huge goal or even a moderate goal, you set yourself a really easily achievable goal that you can't fail at. And this means that you will get into the habit very easily and start to feel good about doing it, and therefore do more. So hopefully today I've convinced you that it doesn't have to be difficult to establish a new habit, and hopefully you feel confident to go and establish new habits that you've been wanting to implement in your lives following this video. So the first thing to remember is to take small steps and set very achievable goals. And secondly, because these goals are so achievable, then each day will be a success. And finally, before you know it, your habit will start to make you feel good, and you'll be doing it because you want to, because you enjoy succeeding at a goal that you set for yourself, rather than doing it because you feel like you have to. Thank you for tuning in to Tutor Impact TV with Toby. I'll see you next time.